They called him the Scourge of God, because if they admitted a man alone could cause that much destruction, it would mean Rome wasn't protected by heaven at all. His name was Attila, king of the Huns, lord of the steppe, nightmare of two empires, and the only person in history who could make a seasoned Roman general consider early retirement just by trotting over a hill. To the Huns, he was a leader. To the Romans, he was a natural disaster. To everyone else, he was a cosmic reminder that life can always get worse. He was born around 406 AD, not in a palace, not even in a tent dignified enough to be called a tent, more like a portable disaster-resistant rag meant to keep the wind out. His world was the great Eurasian steppe. No borders, no cities, no throne rooms, no bureaucracy, just endless grass, endless sky, and the occasional surprised traveler who didn't expect arrows flying at the speed of a bad decision. The Huns didn't build monuments. They didn't need to. Their monument was terror. They lived in the saddle, grew up on horseback, fought on horseback, and probably argued, flirted, and had existential crises on horseback too. Their relationship with horses was so intense that Romans suspected romance. Whatever it was, it worked. A Hun warrior could hit a bird mid-flight from a gallop. A Roman legionary could not, mainly because Roman birds wisely stayed inside. Attila grew up in this storm of hooves and iron. By childhood, he knew three truths. You can outrun anything except your enemy's gossip. Gold is heavy, but fear travels light. Rome is rich, and rich people are slow. He and his brother Bleda inherited rule together. Shared kingship, a lovely idea. For 5 minutes, after a few years of tension, brotherly love became brotherly homicide. Bleda died in a hunting accident. Historians pretend to argue whether Attila killed him. Let's be honest, the Huns didn't do metaphors. When someone important died, it wasn't natural causes. It was natural for Attila. Once he got the throne alone, he did what any responsible leader would do. He turned his people into the most feared cavalry on earth and used them to negotiate with Rome. Attila's diplomacy was simple. Step 1, ride in. Step 2, ask for gold. Step 3, if they hesitate, explain your position using fire. The Eastern Roman Empire tried everything. Treaties, bribes, flattery, more bribes. They sent him gold every year. Attila smiled, thanked them politely, and then demanded double. He treated Constantinople like a subscription service, pay regularly or experience technical difficulties. In 447 AD, he invaded the Balkans with so much force the earth shook. He wiped out cities nobody even remembers existed. The Eastern Empire panicked, rebuilt old walls, built new ones, prayed louder than usual. Attila responded by breaking all of it again. If Rome had had a customer service line, it would have been permanently on hold. But Attila wasn't satisfied with terrifying half of Europe, so he moved on to the other half. In 450 AD, Princess Honoria, sister of the Western Emperor, tried to escape a forced marriage by sending a desperate letter to Attila with her ring. A normal person would read that as a cry for help. Attila read it as a marriage proposal. Rome insisted she wasn't serious. Attila insisted she was. He demanded Honoria's hand and half of the Western Empire as dowry. Rome said no. Attila said, "See you soon." In 451 AD, he invaded Gaul with an army so huge chroniclers wrote things like a storm of nations because numbers weren't enough. Vandals, Ostrogoths, Gepids. His force looked like the credits of an overfunded movie. Villages vanished. Towns surrendered without negotiation. Bishops fainted. Priests repented sins they hadn't committed yet. Only one Roman general still had functioning courage, Flavius Aetius, the last Roman who remembered how to Roman properly. He united every tribe that didn't want Attila as their new landlord. Visigoths, Franks, Burgundians, basically the entire complaint department of Europe. At the Battle of the Catalonian Plains, two worlds collided. Arrows darkened the sky. The ground shook with cavalry charges. Warriors fell in piles. Some sources claim 300,000 died, but ancient historians counted like drunk poets, so who knows. Attila didn't lose, but he didn't win either, a rare outcome that annoyed him deeply. He withdrew, furious but alive, muttering the barbarian equivalent of, "Fine, whatever." The next year, he invaded Italy. Aquileia resisted. Attila erased it from geography. Milan surrendered. Attila sat on the emperor's throne and drew little stick figures on the walls, because why not? When he approached Rome itself, the city braced for destruction. The Pope met Attila, spoke with him privately, and somehow Attila turned his army around. Some say divine intervention, some say plague, some say the Pope brought a large bribe, some say Attila just didn't like the weather. The truth probably lies somewhere between illness and the fact that Italy was running out of food to steal. But his story didn't end on the battlefield. It ended in a bedroom. In 453 AD, Attila married a young bride named Ildiko. The feast lasted all night. Laughter, wine, meat, more wine. At dawn, they found Attila dead, lying in a pool of his own blood. Officially, it was a nosebleed that killed him. Unofficially, what? Theories include assassination, poisoning, overindulgence, or simply Attila doing everything with such intensity that even dying became dramatic. The Huns reacted calmly. They destroyed everything, held the biggest funeral in steppe history, and buried Attila in a triple coffin. Iron outside, silver within, gold within that. The slaves who buried him executed immediately, naturally. After his death, the Hun Empire collapsed in record time, faster than a modern startup. His sons fought like cats in a sack, tribes rebelled, and soon the Huns faded back into the steppe like a nightmare returning to sleep. Rome sighed in relief. Then Rome died anyway a few years later, though this time by its own incompetence, proving Attila wasn't the cause of its fall, just the best highlight. What remains is the legend. A man who never built monuments, never wrote laws, never founded a dynasty, yet terrified 2 continents so effectively that 1,500 years later, his name still sounds like thunder. He proved that fear can travel faster than armies, that a horse can outrun a bureaucracy, and that an empire built on marble can tremble before a man who slept in a tent and ate with a knife he also used for diplomacy. Attila wasn't just the scourge of God. He was the reminder that no matter how mighty your civilization becomes, somewhere out there is a man on a horse who does not care. And for Rome, that man had a name, Attila, the one they feared more than famine, plague, and their own taxes combined.